first. Now, I don't know about you, but I love a good old mafia film.
Be a beggar.
A tight-knit organisation allowed to operate their own fiefdom, always one step ahead of government authorities. Until, of course, the authorities finally catch up with them. See, it worked. Frankly, scenes like digging up a garden, arrests and the seizure of assets are more reminiscent of a aforesaid mafia film, more than perhaps running a government, because that, my friends, is exactly what's happened with the SNP. Because if you thought yesterday was bad, today their treasurer was arrested as part of the police's investigation into the party's financial irregularities. Now, the lawyers have made sure I point out that this investigation is ongoing and that no one at this point has been charged. But perhaps like me, you remember the days where a load of London-based commentators fawned all over Nicola Sturgeon. Some even wished she was that good she could run the entire United Kingdom. Those were the same sorts of people who were outraged about Boris Johnson having a little bit of cake over lockdown. Now they're awfully quiet, though, aren't they? Now the wheels are coming off the SNP's now-seized motorhome. See what I did there? Peter, let's start with you. Not fact, your opinions. How bad politically is this for the SNP? Because it doesn't look great, pal.
Well, no sign of the horse's head in the motorhome just yet.
Good one.
But time will tell. It's really, really bad for the SNP. It's really bad for Humza Yousaf, who just became the SNP leader and First Minister of Scotland a mere 4 weeks ago. Today, he was meant to launch his leadership, essentially, say what he was going to do as First Minister of Scotland. But instead, the treasurer of his party, a man called Colin Beattie, 71 years old SNP politician, has been arrested and is assisting police with their inquiries.
It's a brilliant thing, as you said, because Humza Yousaf, it was his big moment. It was completely overshadowed. I think it's Megan Gallagher from the Scottish Conservative Party putting the boot in. Have a watch.
Being First Minister is, of course, not without its challenges, it's fair to say, but notwithstanding that, it is, of course, the honour of my life.
The SNP is in total meltdown. Its former chief executive and now its current treasurer have been arrested amid a police investigation into the party's finances. And leaked footage has shown Nicola Sturgeon trying to shut down scrutiny mere months before the investigation began. Yet Humza Yousaf is so indebted to his former mentors that he will not do the right thing and suspend them while the investigation is ongoing.
And that, Pete, is the interesting thing, because Humza Yousaf was the anointed one, wasn't he?
Continuity candidate.
Yeah, it's not really worked out like that. We talk about turmoil, and I know that this is particularly obvious, but I'd like your take on it. Who benefits from this? The Labour Party in Scotland, right?
Labour in Scotland, Anna Sarwar is their leader, and certainly the Labour Party have one MP in Scotland at the moment. They'll be thinking, with the polls in their favour at the moment, although they've narrowed recently, that they could pick up 10, maybe 15 seats in Scotland. Maybe that could bring them to a majority nationally as well. So they'll be rubbing their hands with glee. It's also the fact that Scotland for a long time has been a one-party state. The SNP have won something like the last 11 elections. And unsurprisingly, Labour are now saying, hold on, what about us?
Delighted to bring the panel in. I want to start straight with you, Frankie, because you are the absolute right person to put this to. You and all your left-wing cronies spent months and months and years putting the boot into Boris Johnson, and some would say quite rightly so. Yeah. In my opinion, I was watching this today, I was thinking, have we adequately scrutinised Sturgeon and the SNP? Because it is a bit rich, is it not, for a woman who has always been on the front foot criticising anything and everybody that does anything wrong. I mean, this is massive and will, I would think, tarnish her legacy forever.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree. I don't think it's defensible whatsoever. I think the people that they've let down the most is clearly the supporters of the SNP. Personally, if I was Humza Yousaf, I'd be absolutely furious to come in and have to deal with this absolutely, chaotic situation. I think, Peter is absolutely right. The Labour Party will be looking to clean up in Scotland, and I think it will be for the Scottish Conservatives, really, to try and pick up some of those seats, because I do think it will be a bloodbath for the SNP come the next election.
Pete?
There's a really good point Frankie makes about the people who have given to this crowdfunding campaign. So there's a campaign between 2017 and 2020 to get money for a new independence referendum. There will be people who have given £10, £20. That's £650,000. Well, that's what's gone missing. So a lot of ordinary people, not particularly rich people, who are saying, where's my cash gone? I
mean, it's really interesting. A poll, as we always try and do on JK Live, this is the end of Scottish independence we asked today, Russ. Yes, 85, no 15. Lorraine, I would say it's the end of the current SNP party. Chris says, I hope not. Cut 'em loose. Interesting. Gareth, yes, it is. That was the whole purpose of their existence. Graham, I don't get why the British care if Scotland leaves. Let's start with that.
So, yeah, Hamza Yousaf has really got a hospital pass here, hasn't he? And, you know, as of the Supreme Court decision a few weeks ago that basically held that the Scottish National Party cannot now hold an independence referendum, from my perspective, I think from the perspective of many others, the SNP were completely finished and have become irrelevant. What they're now doing, of course, we're now seeing the icing on the cake in terms of the absolute disintegration of the Scottish nationalists. And, of course, the Labour Party, sadly, will be the benefactors.
James, where do you see this ending? I mean, it's really interesting. Who wins from this? I mean, I made that point about Sturgeon. I mean, a lot of people south of the border are quite annoyed by the fact that she was always seemingly there. I mean, this is massive, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say the Labour Party in Westminster and Scotland is the main beneficiary of this. I mean, there's two kind of rules in politics. One of them is that power corrupts. And the second one is that every kind of governing party grows stale eventually. And the SNP's been in power in some form since 2007 now. I think they would have been losing votes anyway. They'd already lost 30,000 members before this scandal. And this just they're going to go down in flames now, you know, whatever the verdict, whatever the final verdict of this investigation.
And Frankie, what I don't get, I'd love yours and Peter's take on this, is why Hamza Yousaf, as the continuity candidate, if he knows that this is wrong, why doesn't he damn well kick Murrell and Sturgeon and Beattie out of his party tonight, make a stand and say to the Scottish people, those ones that paid in who couldn't really afford it, I'm going to change direction. But he won't, will he?
I think what he should do is suspend them. I mean, you can't kick people out until they've been proven guilty, and at this point they are innocent until proven guilty.
Very good point.
But I do think the issue here for Hamza Yousaf is this is going to be a PR crisis for him as well as the SNP. And to look like a tough leader, what he should do, and what I think politicians and parties always fail to do, is cut people loose the second it looks like they've done something wrong. Because if they're proven that they're innocent, they can be brought back in and integrated back into the party. But if it looks like you've been soft on people who clearly have been breaking the law, it will totally destroy his reputation.
Took the Labour Party long enough to kick that horrible man Corbyn out, didn't it? I just got that in because you'll go, whatever. Is Scottish independence dead? And should Hamza Yousaf just go, you're out? I can't have this, but he can't, can he?
It's dead for the minute. They can't have a conversation about independence because this is what is governing the airwaves. And it's interesting as well from Hamza Yousaf's perspective because what little authority he has left is garnered from his continuity from Nicola Sturgeon, from Peter Murrell, from Colin Beattie, three people who were absolutely instrumental when he was coming up through the ranks of the SNP. He can't really cut them loose now because they're the foundations on which his power is built. And I think other people, including Kate Forbes, who lost narrowly to him, will be thinking, hold on a second, bide my time, stay calm, let's see what happens.
Jeremy, so can I just add as well?
Quickly,
the SNP, of course, joined the ranks of the Labour Party and the Liberal Democrats when it came to all of the shenanigans around the Boris Johnson administration and all the people that had fallen foul of the rules, the guidelines and the laws.
Rightly so.
Rightly so, yes. But, you know, Yousaf now is taking the same approach as Boris, which, of course, was part of the downfall of Boris Johnson. You would think that Yousaf would actually learn from Boris Johnson's very public mistakes in that regard.
But you wonder, don't you, because perhaps he's as closely tied into them, closer than we know. But it is one of those stories that just keeps giving. The motorhome, where's the money gone? Why did they dig up the garden? Who else is going to be arrested? You'll get it all here on Talk.